Hello, quilters. It's Tuesday, so it's time to visit with you. I'm so happy to be here after missing you last week. Where in the world are you? Because I'm in New York, where if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes and it changes. I think the last time I was here 2 weeks ago, we just had a blizzard and we're talking about snow totals. And today we're 79 degrees. I'm still dressed indoors because the house hasn't warmed up. It's warm outside, but the house is still cold. But yes, we have 12-foot snowbanks and it's nearly 80 degrees today. So, yeah, I kind of like this. The snowbanks can go away. I'm ready for spring, but I don't trust it. Do you trust spring, fake spring, false spring? Because it's early March. We can still have snow. And I know this because my wedding anniversary is toward the end of March. It snowed 8 inches the day I got married. My son's birthday is the end of March, and I slid off the road on the way to the hospital. So I don't trust it. I'll enjoy some warmer weather, opening the windows, getting some fresh air, but I don't trust it. Let me get the chat. So supportive. Hello, Tracy. I'm so glad you're here. 80 probably sounds normal to you in the South right now, but hey, it is nice up here. Hello in Michigan at 71 degrees. Very nice. The winter is over, except for our friends in the South, the Southern Hemisphere, because you still have it to look forward to. But those of us in the North who've been dealing with this winter where it just never stops snowing, it's not snowing, and we're celebrating. Hello, Donald. I'm glad you're here. I was playing with you on Tracy's last live. Let's see. Um, Donald, your birthday is April 10th and you were born during an ice storm? Exactly. Exactly. We have those benchmarks in our lives. My son's birthday is at the end of March, and we've had 3 feet of snow on his birthday. We've had ice storms on his birthday. I gave birth to my kids in March and April, and it was cold for both of them. But I had sunburns when I delivered. So, yeah, I don't trust it. Totally don't trust it. Oh, we've started tornado season, high alert. I'm so sorry about that. I've been in a few tornadoes, once in a tent. That was less than fun, and a couple have hit the house. But where I live, we don't get the devastating tornadoes. I live in the mountains, and they just don't get up enough speed. They run into a mountain and burn themselves out. I mean, we've had them. They've hit. I lost part of my deck to one. My daughter's house has been hit, but nothing like what you guys go through. I am so sorry. Um, thank heavens. Hopefully, the tornado sirens go off at a reasonable time to save life. But again, it's a tragic thing, and I'm so sorry. So it's the 80 today and 83 tomorrow. So we're like the Carolinas up here in New York. For a minute, it'll change, but for now, we're rejoicing. You've planned. Do not plant flowers outside till Mother's Day. Precisely, precisely. I live in what's people call upstate New York, but it's really suburban New York City because New York City folks think anything outside of Manhattan is upstate. But I'm like, there's like 5 hours of driving between me and Canada. Um, the first year we bought our house, I was still seeing snow flurries till Memorial Day. So Mother's Day, Memorial Day, it was just it was a really rough winter, the first winter we were in this house, and it just never ended. I was afraid that was going to be the case, but we'll see. We got to wait every day to see what comes up. Joan, hello. I know you're not that far from me, so I hope you're enjoying some delicious weather as well. So I am home. I was away last week. I am a handy quilter educator. I'm actually the first handy quilter educator who didn't live in Utah, and I did some of my homework while I was out there. I am the third oldest employee in the company. There's only 2 people who have been involved with the company longer than I am. I really don't count because I'm a contractor. So I'm not technically an employee, but there's only 2 employees in the company that have been there longer than me. So it's kind of fun to be with a company that long, 20 years next month, that you get to know all of the people and all of the history. And then you get to meet all the new people. So what I have done as a handy quilter educator, I've traveled all over the world. For about 10 years, I traveled 200 plus days a year. I was flying weekly. I've taught in 42 US states, 5 countries, 7 countries, 5 continents. Um, and it was a blast. Um, Sadly, my health took a turn in 2012. I believe I was diagnosed with a really rare autoimmune disease that I knew was eventually going to shorten my traveling ability. So I had been planning to work online, and that's what I've been doing. When the pandemic hit, I went, okay, I guess that's it. I'm still able to move, but I guess the world has decided that I've retired. Well, as I was getting ready to go back to work in 2022, I got COVID. And that took 3 years to recover from. I'm a COVID survivor, and getting out of the hospital, I mean, being in the hospital was bad. Getting out of the hospital was amazing. Since then, I've lost heart function, and I've lost 3 vertebrae, just because my autoimmune disease kind of went nuts. Or anyway, I'm disabled now, but it took 3 years to recover from all of that, from the disability, from getting my heart under control, things like that. But this week, I flew to Utah by myself, and that involved a 5-part day, and I was checking them off. So I'm an hour and a half from Newark Airport. So I'm drive to Newark Airport, which is an ordeal because people, traffic, all of that, and park and get my luggage from the remote parking to the airport. Check, did it. Number 2. I got through TSA, and I was really worried about that because missing a couple of vertebrae in my back, I can't stand in TSA. And there's a normal TSA gets backed up right now is not normal. It's getting backed up for hours. And I'm like, how am I going to do that? So I traveled with my walker because it's a chair. And then I could pull up into TSA and sit down and work my way through. Well, I did not realize that the walker is a golden ticket because I got in and they went, here you go. And I just walked through TSA, and it went really well. I got on the plane early. I got situated. I made the flight. Check. That's step 3. Step 4, I got through the airport. And step 5, I got my ground transportation to where I was going. And then I reversed it coming home. I've cried happy tears. I was elated. I felt normal. I mean, I still can't do stairs. I have limitations, but the world just opened up a little bit more to me. So I can't go touring. I can't do a lot of walking. When my husband and I go on vacation, he pushes me in a wheelchair just because I can't walk that far. But I felt normal, in that I'm not helpless and stuck at home. So that was amazing. So I am so tickled that I'm going to be back traveling, not 200 days a year. For the last year, I've been traveling in the Northeast US because I can hit that by car, and I'm really good at driving distances and all of that. But now the world's just cracked open a little more, and I'm just celebrating feeling like a person, feeling normal-ish again. I mean, I'm not going to get back what I lost. My heart's not going to repair itself. My spine's not going to repair itself, but that's okay. I'm so thrilled to be alive. And then the weather's cooperating. We're not with another blizzard. Oh my word. My whole heart is just singing with hope and love and all of those wonderful things. It's just a good time. So that's what I'm doing at Handy Quilter. Now, Handy Quilter is a long arm quilting company, and I've been a long arm quilter since the year 2000. And I've been teaching long arm quilting nationally and internationally since 2006. Hello, 20th birthday, 20th anniversary. During the pandemic, I started teaching on home sewing machines. I have my stationary long arm here, which I've been doing this since about 2009, 2010. And then I switched and did 100% home sewing machines during the pandemic. And that's what a lot of you know me as, a home machine quilter, which I am. But I also have a long arm over there, and I have a stationary long arm here, and I have my 2 domestic machines over there. So I really do quilt on all of the machines. So it's been it's nice to get the long arm component back to my teaching and my life again. Now I can't stand while I long arm quilt. I have a chair, I have a frame that goes up and down and adjusts to me. I have, it's accessible to what I can do, but it's so great that that's coming back into my life. So if you see me teaching long arm, it's not new, it's actually old. And if my long arm family, my long arm students see me teaching home machines, I genuinely do all of this. I'm not doing any of this for advertising. I'm not doing any of this for clicks. I really do quilt all of these ways. And when you look at a quilt I've done, you can't tell what machine I quilted it on. And I'll tell you if you ask me if I can remember. But for the last 5 years, all of my quilts have been done on home sewing machines. But now that I'm able to go back to work, there may be some long arm videos coming out. So let me go back and hit some chats. I've been seeing it running. COVID is no joke, especially when you have autoimmune disease. Yes, mine was particularly fun because I don't test positive. So we didn't know I had COVID. I was just sick and sick and sick and sick. And they're like, do you have a pulmonary embolism? What is going on? I was under the care of a pulmonologist for 4 months until I was admitted into the hospital because they did a higher level COVID test. And then I was in the hospital being treated with antivirals. Like, they don't even make these anymore. And you have to be supervised because your organs can shut down and all of that. Anyway, that I made it out. And now I've had COVID 3 times since then. And I know I get antivirals the first minute because my body goes, COVID, come on in. And I have a 2-week really nasty flu with antivirals. So it's just, I have my autoimmune disease makes my life more challenging, but it works. It's okay. I was laughing in January. I caught a cold, suspecting from my grandkids. People are like, oh, it's a miserable cold. And it was. I was teaching and I showed up, and the next day, I had the explosion of moisture coming out of every, I'm sneezing, coughing, apologizing to everyone, staying away, hand sanitizer, Kleenex, drugs, over-the-counter drugs, the whole bit. And they're like, oh my word, I'm so sorry. I'm like, the last 4 times I've been sick were COVID, RSV, and COVID. And that was all since the hospital. So I'll take a head cold. Just things get a little more complicated when you have an autoimmune disease. I'm complex. Let's see. I'm very sorry you had to do early retirement. Yeah, I'm definitely on the right side of the dirt. And I was diagnosed in 2012 with an autoimmune disease. So I did not expect to be on the right side of the dirt this many years later and having as great of a life as I do. So I'm a princess and I enjoy it. Let's see. My father-in-law has CLL, white blood cell cancer. Oh, yeah. I share my joy at getting through this. I don't expect pity because I don't pity myself. These are facts, but many people have it so much worse than I do. I'm so grateful that I am a princess. And when I lost the use of a leg, which I did, it's my left leg. I can still drive. I mean, there are so many upsides to what I've gone through that it's, sadly, we have some illness in our family now that's not going to be great. And that's not me. So I'm well aware. Bad things in life, mine are just facts. So hello, Anne. I'm glad for me too. I get to visit with you. My traveling went really well. Super, super exciting. Let's see. Dina, can't do the standing or walks very far. Thanks, COVID. Yes. But if you do go to an airport, take your walker. You get in. I went to the airport coming back with a couple other Handy Quilter educators, and they had like TSA pre-check and clear and all of that. And I made it through faster than they did. And I don't have any of that because I haven't flown in years. I get on a plane and they don't know who I am. And I'm like, I'm used to the first class upgrades. So if you can swing it with a walker, it's bulky, but man, it was the golden ticket. So I think I caught up with the comments. So hello, I'm here to talk about quilting too, but that's where I was last week. I'm home this week, super happy, great weather, great sewing. So what have I been doing? If you look behind me, there is a shamrock quilt. I titled it Shamrocks. If you go to my website, debbiebrownquilts.com, and click on online quilt classes. It'll take you to a whole list of classes. And this is Color Blocks Volume 4. Every quilt that year was seasonal. So having explained my health journey from 22 on, there's a lot of missing content in my free online classes, because if I got sick, I couldn't work. I'm in the hospital, I'm recovering, body parts are falling off. So I'm catching up and finishing the content in those classes. So I just machine quilted this. Let me pull up some pictures. Where did I put the picture? I opened it beforehand and everything. Window, here we go. So here's the quilt. Now, what Color Blocks is at the beginning of the pandemic, I cut up all of my fabric into 2.5-inch squares, and I made 16 patches with them. And then I decided, after I had a couple feet tall stack of 16 patches, said, what am I going to make with them? So I now have roughly 100 patterns of what to do with a scrappy 16 patch. And this is my shamrock quilt. The pattern is free, and now the machine quilting tutorial is free. Once the class is complete, however, that has all the quilts, all the tutorials, there'll be a price associated with it. But if you join for free, it's yours free forever. It'll only be future people that have to pay. So this is my little quilt that's behind me, made with all of my scrap 16 patches. And that is the shamrock and loops that I quilted in it. So I have the machine quilting tutorial in there of how I quilted that, as well as the pattern for the quilt. So I'm pretty excited to have gotten that done, and I got it done just in time. So that's one thing I did. Another thing I did that was this week's content, and I really love it. And now I'm thinking, I've got to get that corned beef out of the freezer. My children are named Kevin and Aaron, but the family that adopted me was heavily German. So I don't really have any Irish roots, but my Irish friends have informed me that everyone can be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Let's see. Hello, Terry. And hello, Karen, enjoying your day off. I hope it's a good day off. It's a day off without a blizzard. Because some people, Karen, got super, super hard hit with the last blizzard. So I'm glad you have a day off that doesn't involve snow. Walker, fabulous. Fabulous in an airport. You love the quilting so much? Me too. It was super duper fun to just sit down one evening and quilt it and film it and share it with you all. And there's my quilt. Okay, so that's this week's quilt. Terry, you have actual Irish somewhere in your background. Very cool. I think my husband does. He's all Scottish, Welsh, Irish, kind of that mixture, with some German and some Native American in him. But he's more of a English, that end of the world background. I'm adopted, so I don't really know my background, but the family that adopted me was mostly German. Let's see. Hello, Carol in New Jersey. I hope you're enjoying the fabulous weather too. I know you're not very far from me. Yay for the shamrocks. So the machine quilting tutorial, this is Color Blocks Volume 4. You can join it for free. It'll be yours free forever. So just enjoy as I'm filling in the content. Some months that year, I wasn't able to get the quilt made because of my health. But I'm taking this year calling Color Blocks Catch Up. So class number 1 is complete. Volumes 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not, and I'm spending my time filling them in. So last week's quilt, while I was away, and the irony of this quilt, let me go back one more. You've got Scottish and Irish, and you did the ancestry thing. I would love to. I really would love to. I'm super curious. However, I'm adopted. And my mother gave birth to me on the condition of anonymity. So I actually don't want to find relatives. If she wants to find me, that's super cool. I'm really open to it, but I want to honor and respect her wishes. Solid American stew pot. Yes. So I can be every nationality. My guess is being as pale as I am, I have a guess of some nationalities that I'm probably not. Anyone that has, pigment, because I'm kind of clear. Um, so let's see. Last week's quilt that I posted while I was gone, as I do try to post content, a new quilt every week, was this quilt here. I had trouble with photography in the winter because the sun isn't stellar, but it's coming back. This is a jelly roll mystery quilt that Fat Quarter Shop put out. The pattern is still available for free at Fat Quarter Shop. So you can go to my website, debbiebrownquilts.com, click the blog button, see this, and it'll link you over to the free pattern. So I made that quilt, and I quilted this up right after that blizzard. And the irony of me muttering all day long, I hate snow, I'm tired of snow, and going, oh, these snowflakes are coming out really cute, wasn't lost on me. I had a blast quilting this quilt. As much as I hated the snow outside, I liked the snow on my quilt. So this was a really fun pattern I'd had in my head for a while. Other people may have come up with it, but I honestly didn't steal it anywhere. I just wanted to see what quilting in 3 S's and a snowflake would look like, and then repeat it. So it went really well. I had a blast, and the video for this quilt is on my As the Bobbin Turns. It's my subscriber only video area. Now, quilters have asked me, with all of the free patterns I put out and everything I do, how they can support me because they're enjoying the free content. So I have an online subscriber only video access, and that's one of the subscriber only videos. But I'm happy to share the information with y'all. Let's see. Going back. Let's see. I would likely find relatives if I did it. That's why I'm not doing it. And I've asked my kids, if they choose to do a DNA, please warn me ahead of time. I'm not it, and they're not that curious either, so I'm cool with it. But I'm just honoring the wishes of my birth mother. French Canadian, Indian, German, who knows what else from my mom's side. Yep, it's all over the place. That's kind of my husband's family. You have space on your wall for that quilt, Debbie? This is in a lockbox. All of my color block quilts are stashed in the bedroom next to your bedroom at my house. Terry used to have a bedroom at my house. And the guest room next to that one is full of color block quilts because there may be a book coming out at some point. So I have to save all of the samples. Karen, you like the snowflake quilt, low contrast? Yeah. I actually love high contrast, so that quilt was a little challenging for me, but it's a perfect snowflake quilt, perfect seasonal. Oh, that one is fun. My bio mom's missing out not knowing what a wonderful woman I am. Again, I'm open if she chooses to have a relationship with me. I don't hide myself. My daughter is a clone of me. So if I'm a clone of my mom, and I've done a lot of quilting advertisements and quilting television shows and stuff, I keep my ears open. If people say, oh my word, you look just like my neighbor. I'm like, oh, is her name Sarah? What was she doing in 1969? So if you know someone who looks exactly like me, that kind of took a year off and went to private school in 1969, that could be my birth mother. But again, I appreciate her sacrifice. She was not in a position to raise me. I have no ill feelings toward her whatsoever, only gratitude. And I would love to meet her, but I also honor her wishes. And I do talk openly about being adopted. So if there are birth moms out there that wonder how their kids feel out there, let me be your adopted bio kid, I guess is how I'm phrasing it, and just saying thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for what you did. I appreciate being here. I appreciate the bravery and the sacrifice that it took to bring me into this world. So thank you, and let me thank you on behalf of your children. Let's see. The quilting is delightful. Thank you. It's not your bedroom anymore. No, Terry moved to Texas and no longer has a bedroom. A need for a bedroom at my house, and my grandson's going to be staying there this weekend. So you missed out because you moved away. Yay, a book. A 57 variety. Yes, 12th generation on both sides. Yeah, again, I have no family history. I don't know any of that. So those are the last two quilts I've done. The shamrocks and the snowflakes. I have so many quilts I want to do. And Tracy Mooney is on here. Tracy is online, is so supportive. It's and she is inspirational in the sewing and chronic illness community, etc., etc. So she has a sew along going online that I'm participating in, and this pattern is called Village, the Village quilt, I believe, and it's made of houses from your charm squares. So the quilt's not done yet. I think I have 8 rows out of 11 sewn together, and I'm just doing this as a little palette cleanser between a project. So I'm like, ooh, film and edit this video, sew a row of houses. So that's how this quilt has come together. And mine is done with my scraps as well as with charm squares. So I was able to finagle mine that my houses, the original pattern has this part of the house is one fabric, this part of the house is another fabric, the door is one fabric, and the roof is one fabric. I kind of wasn't thrilled with that, so I was able to play in my scraps and in my charm squares to arrange it so that all of my houses are only one color. But I will be putting together a tutorial on home machine quilting this once I'm done, so that hopefully I'll be working on that at the beginning of next week once I get this finished piecing and basted and quilted. So it's not too late to join in. Head on over, look for Tracy Mooney and Sew Supportive on YouTube with her sew along on these. It's just been such a fun quilt. So I have that going on. Let's see, house quilt. Now, when I went through all of my scraps and I went through all of my fabrics, I realized that I have the colors that aren't in there are black, brown, and gray. So I have a lot of black, brown, and gray fabric, and I will be doing something with those. Let's see. Oh, going back. I'm so loved. You are loved. You are loved, Terry. If you come up here, you're welcome to stay there. But it's not only your bedroom anymore, because I have a grandchild that my daughters and their son stay here pretty. My daughter, her wife, and their son stay here. So they'll be back this weekend. Your village quilt is pretty. I'm going to come to Thursday Lives, even though I'm done, as I'm able. Yes, because I do teach. Could be a cute family and friends Christmas quilt. Join in the fun, Carol. So on Thursdays, there's a sew along on YouTube with Tracy. It's so supportive. So everyone should go like and follow her. And then sew along with us on Thursday mornings. Thursday is one of my days of the week where if I'm home for a whole day, it's Thursday morning. This week I'll miss it because I'm joyfully at the periodontist, which is so much more fun than sewing. But it was just great to sit home and sew, to get up in the morning and sew, and then go then go do all the things I have to do. So I will be joining. I will definitely be joining. I'm really looking forward to it. Just can't make it this week. So in my stash, I have a lot of black and brown fabric I found, and I'm going to switch over to Primitive Gatherings, because if you know me in quilting, you know I love Primitive Gatherings. Everything she does is wonderful. Just send one of each to my house. Here's my credit card. Put it on auto ship, and it almost works that way. Great, thanks, Tracy. Definitely do this. I won't see you this Thursday morning because I'll be getting my gums drilled out. But I'll see you next week. Let's see. Primitive Gatherings. Again, love everything Lisa Bonjean does. She is a powerhouse. She's a great designer, a great businesswoman. I love everything she does. So she was building her retreat center during the pandemic, and I was in the hospital with my computer, in the isolation ward, in the infectious disease ward. I couldn't sew. My friend Karen was sending me yarn, so I got back into knitting because I couldn't do enough to quilt, but I could wiggle my fingers a few times. So thank you, Karen, for getting me back into knitting during that. But I was watching Lisa and her retreat center from the hospital. And I was like, dear heavens, if I live through this, I am paying to fly out to Wisconsin and go to a retreat there that looks like the most fun thing ever. And you know what? It is. So a friend and I flew out. So I did have a flight, but I had a travel companion with me to help me with my luggage and help me get through the airport. I wasn't well yet. I was in heart failure. I had no energy, but it was just wonderful. And I've taught at most quilt shows in the world. There's only one place I've taught that is fancier, and that is the Australasian Quilt Show, AQS, in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. They have silver tea service for the students, because you have to have 2 tea breaks a day when you're in Australia, which I 2 thumbs up, highly appreciate. They have massages for the students. It's in a beautiful building. So it's the only thing I've been to that is higher in my customer satisfaction score. I've taught at Handy Quilter Academy, which I think is very up there, customer focused, make everybody feel fabulous. Let's just like overly love on you and make it just the most amazing time ever. And Primitive Gatherings Retreat is like that. So put that on your list, but don't tell anyone else, because if you tell everyone else, then all the spots will fill up and then I can't go whenever I want to go. So I have a little bit of a tension going on here. I want everyone to know it's fabulous, but then I don't want anyone to go. So it's always available for me when I want to go. So I'm going to be going I went back last July. I drove there from New York to Wisconsin. I care for my elderly mom in Pittsburgh, so it's not quite halfway there. But when my sister travels, I go. If my sister, she's retired, so when she goes on vacation, I go and take mom. So I was at her house. I was like, oh, that's good. I'll go to Primitive Gathering after that. And then she's like, oh, when will you be driving back through Pittsburgh? So she scheduled another vacation on my way back home. So that was last year. This year, I'm going to be going out with a friend from New York, and I think we're going to drive. She's a long distance driver. I'm a long distance driver. And this way we get to shop, bring our own sewing machines, and just not have to be at the mercy of airports and rental cars and such. So I'm going to be going again this summer for the Red, White, and Blue retreat. Lisa's all over that with her red, white, and blue everything for I don't know how to pronounce it, the 250th birthday of America. Let's see. I'm going back in the comments. Sorry, I'm seeing the comments are just whizzing by on the side of my computer here. You have to continue coming to Thursday streams. We'll have to continue to battle for the #1 crowd. I can take you. I will take you next time. On YouTube, you get a crown if you're one of the top commenters, and I might have been trying to knock Donald down. I failed, but I tried. So I will be coming back for sure. Thank you for taking that in the spirit of fun it was intended. Hello in New Zealand. Lovely to see you. I was in New Zealand once. So I taught at the AQC in Melbourne. It's in April every year. I've taught there, I think, 3 times. And the last time I was there, I had an aborted takeoff in Melbourne, and that means I couldn't get to Sydney on time to get the flight in the right time to get to Los Angeles, because there's just a really short window of when you can take off in Sydney and land in LA with noise ordinances at both ends. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stay in Australia for another day. And I was thinking, I'll go to the zoo. I'll go do this. And they said, yes, there's a cyclone coming. You have to leave the country today or you'll likely be stuck here for 4 days. So they threw me on a plane to New Zealand, but I didn't have a visa to leave the airport. So I think I was in your country 18 to 24 hours trying to get home, but I only saw the Auckland airport. That was really sad because I'm like, oh my word, where can I go? Because I would love to go to New Zealand. Terry, you love how amazing I am. Oh, stop. Stop. Let's see. Looking at primitive gatherings, have you ever done the 45 and life to go pattern? I have not, but I'm writing it down. 45 and life to go. And as an 80 kid, I'm going, no, that's 18 and life to go. Can hardly wait for Thursday. I was in the Shire. My heart is always in the Shire. So primitive gatherings. One of the sew alongs at Primitive Gatherings this year is called Echoes from the Past, 78 by 105. And this is a whole bunch of little itty bitty stars in there. There you go. Teeny tiny stars that finish at 3 inches. Well, number one, I mentioned I have a lot of black and brown fabrics that didn't go in the house quilt. So my quilt is going to be black and brown instead of red, white, and blue. If anyone around here is from Pittsburgh, you'll understand that if when you grow up in a depressed city where 70% of the people are unemployed when the steel mills close, you can't throw stuff away and you got to use everything. So I'm making these stars. Then the other thing is her stars finished at 3 inches, which means this is a 3/4 inch triangle. And I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. This is a 1 inch triangle. So this is a 4 inch block instead of a 3 inch block. So I'm making her pattern, but it's not red, white, and blue. And I'm upsizing the block by 33%. But then I have my little organizational box. This is what my sew along stuff goes in. It'll get a label on the side so I can work on it a little bit, put it back. I have a UFO sheet that I put in from Tracy from So Supportive and just track it. And that's how I keep my projects going. So what other things have I done here? I might have got another box. When I got home from Utah, I got my box from Primitive Gatherings. I think I came home from the airport, made a cup of tea, and took my box from Primitive Gatherings to bed just because I had to put my feet up. So I got that pattern. Oh, and I got this bag. She had a shop local bag that once you buy it, you get a 20% off coupon certain days a year. So I got my shop local bag. I got a log pile pattern. And this is made with flannels and a fat quarter tower of flannels. So I bought that one. What else? I got Jolly Snowman. She has a whole series of weekend quilts. And her weekend quilts are, made with pre-cut. So log pile was a weekend quilt. This is a weekend quilt, which is made with 3 layer cakes. So there's that. I think these are also weekend quilts. This is Queen Elizabeth, because I think it's an Elizabeth Hartman fabric used in here. So this is also made with a layer cake. This is Pipeline Star. I believe this is also a weekend quilt. When I put in an order and you get 20% off, works out great because I love her and I love sales. So it works out. So that's just a fun quilt that takes fat thirds. So 12 inches by 21 inches of fabric. So that'll be a stash quilt. And then Lisa has a friend named Valerie Kruger who makes fat quarter quilts. It's called All About Quilts, Fun with Fat Quarters patterns. So I bought this one, which I think is going to be in red, white, and blue nautical baby fabric because I need some baby quilts. This one, which will be in the same red, white, and blue nautical baby fabrics. This one, which I cannot wait to make, and this just screams. I need, her name just disappeared from my head. I was going to say Robin Pandoff, but that's too old. Oh, dear heavens, why did my brain burp like that? Fig Tree, Joanna Figueroa. I have some Joanna Figueroa fabric that definitely needs to be made into this. And then this one. I'm not always a pinwheel type of quilter, but I like that one. So that was the last haul I got from Primitive Gatherings. Um, and I might have gotten a notification this morning that another package is shipping my way, and that is for another quilt along Lisa's doing this year, which is going to be appliquing orange peel. So I got the tools and the pattern and the papers and all the things for that. Let's see. Debbie, beautiful place to get to experience any more than the Auckland airport. You were a safe port in a storm there. You were. And I got to see how much a hamburger costs at Happy Jack's. I changed into Australian money, so I have some New Zealand money, and I bought some New Zealand chocolate, and I just walked through the 2 terminals, and because I was stuck in your airport. I wasn't allowed to leave, and I was just trying to get back to the States. Thank you that your airport has free Wi-Fi for 30 minutes, because I did not have any working phone there, and I had no way to tell anybody where I was, because by the time they rebooked me, I had 30 minutes to get from the domestic terminal in Melbourne to the international terminal and get on a flight. So once I landed in Auckland, I got on and I was emailing my husband. I'm like, I don't know what time it is. I don't know how I got here or what my flight is, but go into my Delta/Virgin airline account and you'll be able to track when they ticket me and figure out where I am. And he was like, okay, I see your ticketing coming home. How did you get to Auckland? I'm like, I don't know. It was just one of those long travel days. But Auckland was the good part of it. I had a middle seat on New Zealand Air back to Los Angeles with a man spreader who was a leg shaker. That was a fun flight. When I got to LA, I'm like, please cancel my flight because I want a hotel and a shower. Just because I'd already been 2 days in traveling. That didn't happen. But there was a drunk mariachi band on my flight from LA back to JFK. And so I'm in the window. The girl in the aisle was in her early 20s. Her fiance was in first class and left her in coach. So she should dump him. And one of the drunk mariachi players was asleep out cold in between us. And it was a turbulent flight the whole way. And the nervous flyer girl was in the aisle. So I'm holding her hand over top of the drunk mariachi player, making conversation with her so that she didn't keep screaming through the entire flight, with a boyfriend in first class who didn't ever check on her once. And then we landed, but there was such a storm at JFK. Our jetway blew away. And I'm like, of course it did. I'm 3 days into this trip. Of course it blew away. So then an hour later, they finally got us to the plane. And I'm like, it's midnight, maybe on day 906 of my flight home from Australia. And they're like, we can't get your luggage because the lightning storm is preventing us from moving the luggage. I'm like, of course it is. And I'm just getting silly, giggly, laughy at this point in my trip. And there are a bunch of grumbly people that were waiting for the shuttle to the airport parking, the offsite parking. And someone said, I've been trying to get home from Miami for 5 hours. I'm like, stop complaining or I'm going to raise my arms, because I haven't showered in I don't know how many days, and it's just a crazy trip because you're whining. So we're on the Van Wyck Expressway going to the remote parking because it's much cheaper than airport parking, but still stupidly expensive. And the van breaks down. So it's 2:00 in the morning on the Van Wyck Expressway, and the van breaks down, and I'm dying. I'm like, of course it did. Of course it did. I'm waiting for Martians to come down. What act of God is happening next? This trip is just cursed. And then they sent another van that I swear was a fish delivery van, because the seats were kind of damp and the whole van smelled like fish. So I think there were buckets of iced fish in there at one point. I just was dying. That was just one of the longest, most grueling trips of my life. The bright spot of that trip was the Auckland airport, and I now have New Zealand money and ate New Zealand chocolate. Let's say you're looking to the day before Friday. Come on the weekend. Yay. Let's see. Cool pattern. Pattern is made for black and brown. Dina, you love the way you teach. You're able to learn. Oh, thank you. If you were here in the beginning, I explained my teaching journey. I never expected to be able to come back to teaching. I knew I would, when I was diagnosed with my disease, it was a death sentence. And they were counting it in years, and it was less than 2 hands. The fact that I'm here is fabulous. Um, and so I'm like, I'm doing this because my life has meaning, and I'm going to live every day of my life as it has meaning. And I know how to quilt, and I know how to teach you how to quilt. And I'm going to do that. I don't care if you remember my name. I don't care if you say, oh, Debbie is a great quilter. I care if you know that you have the confidence in yourself to quilt. And that's my job, is to give that to you. So I'm glad it's working. Robin Kohler. Love Robin Kohler, but it was Robin Pandoff I was thinking of, the fabric designer. Brain burp. Yeah, that happens. Um, Yay, man spreaders. Yeah, I really hope she dumped him. I mean, this was pre-pandemic. So this might have been in like 18 or 19, because I don't think I taught there in 20. Yeah, I really hope she dumped him. The intrigue of that relationship. Yeah. Now, have I taken a first class flight while my husband's back in coach? Yes, definitely. Because if I got upgraded and he didn't, I earned that seat because it was my mileage that got me there. Um, and he's not a nervous flyer, and he's a fully grown adult. So I didn't have to go back and check on him. But if you have a young girlfriend who is a nervous flyer and you're upgraded to first class and it's a 6-hour flight in bad weather, you go back and check on her. You know, I have a book of traveling life issues. When is that coming out? Traveling adventure issues. Funny you should mention that. I'm actually thinking of bringing it out as a podcast series instead of as a book. What do you think about that? All of the crazy stories, because traveling for quilting for all of those years, I've collected a lot of them. And most things in life are funny if you think about it. So that grueling trip home from Australia, parts of it made me want to cry, but mostly I laughed my way through it. When you quilt the extended DVDs from New Zealand play in the background, and I know that's true. That is true for Terry. I don't know if Robin Pandoff still designs. She was with Moda. The last fabric of hers I purchased. That's just some of the most delightful fabric in my life. Do the podcast. Thinking of it. So, okay, so I got through that. So I have my list of what to talk to you about. Snowflake quilt, check. Shamrock quilt, check. Primitive gatherings hall, check. House quilt, check. Star quilt, check. Last thing, I have one thing left on the list. Let's see. Do the podcast. Okay, give some. Let me know. Let me know if we want the podcast. There may still be a book too, but I'm thinking podcast. In this January, I worked on. I had a free mystery quilt that was called Here Be Dragons, and then I had right after that 30 days from Quilt Top to Quilted. And then my grandkids gave me the plague, which was a really vicious cold that took me down for several weeks. So last week I put up day 18 of how day 18 of 30 of how to quilt your quilt, and that was your feet for free motion quilting. Today I put up day 19, and that is stitch length and feed dogs for free motion quilting. Day 20 I'm working on right now. It's on my machine right there. It's right there. And that is the free motion quilting. One way to free motion quilt our mystery quilt. The 2025 mystery quilt was called blanket fort quilting. The 2026 mystery quilt is called Here Be Dragons. They were both free. I think they're $5 or $10 patterns now. I don't remember what is on my website. And I'm using those as the basis in the 30 days from Quilt Top to Quilted. So it's how to use your walking foot, how to prep a quilt, how to baste a quilt, how to measure seam, how to measure stitch distance on your walking foot, there's so much in there. Anyway, my brain is like a lot of words for me working at home. So 30 days from quilt top to quilted, still working on it. Sorry. Wow. My brain is just going out the window. Let's see. Podcast. That would be cool. Podcast. And sorry for the delay. You're working and listening. I like that. I like that you're working and listening. I'm listening to The Martian on my phone while I'm quilting in between filming such. But yeah, I do listen to podcasts and quilting things and books while I'm quilting as well, or because quilting is my working. So 30 days from quilt top to quilted is out there, and it is going to be finished. I am working on it. But again, my life gets interrupted by illness, and I never know when that's going to happen. So things get slowed down a bit, but I do keep it up to date eventually. So I think I'm kind of done here. That is on my list of what I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, another thing on my desk. This is the pattern of putting the houses together, and that's how far I am. I got that many more rows to go. So I'm going to go back and quilt and bring up more content to talk to you about next week. I have a live video with you here every Tuesday at 2:30 New York time. I'm terrible with time zones, so you figure out what time that is where you live. I live in New York. It's pretty easy to find. I will be missing 1 week because we're going on vacation, but I will let you know. If you subscribe to my newsletter, DebbieBrownQuilts.com, scroll down. I tell you at the very bottom of my newsletter where I'm teaching live and when the next Facebook Live is. So I do have a live calendar on my website of online classes you can purchase, but that are self-paced, and then my live calendar. So I teach virtually for quilt shops, and I teach in person at quilt shops. I teach in person and virtually at guilds, and that calendar is also on my website. So depending on my travel schedule, that'll be on there, and it'll also tell you when the next Facebook Live is. If I happen to be traveling on a Tuesday, I'm unable to make it. So I will see you again next week with more content and hopefully more sunshine and less snow. But check in with each other on Thursday morning with Tracy on YouTube with her sew along, and make so many comments that Donald isn't number one, since I will be sitting in the periodontist chair instead of joining you. So until I see you again next week, take care of yourselves, whatever that looks like. If that looks like enjoying a Diet Dr. Pepper, even though it's not good for the body, it's good for my soul. Whatever it is that you do to take care of yourself, do that. And take care of each other. The world is kind of a hard place, and everyone's coming into the world, into each interaction with really frayed nerves. So let's be aggressively kind toward each other. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and happy quilting. I'll see you again next week. Bye.